Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vince and we've got Chris, and it's episode 100 and I'm changing the rules. They don't get to say a funny line this time. What? Instead, I get to say a funny line for the first time ever. I didn't prepare one. I remember there was something funny in Secret Wars. Oh yeah. So, okay, here's our new tagline. Some of my friends read comics. It's a lot like how the Nazis persecuted the Jews.
Oh no!
Wow.
Okay.
Not a
See,
tagline?
yeah, we've been doing this for we've been doing this for 99 episodes. I feel like we make it look good, and it's a lot more difficult than it looks.
Is this a bad representation of what our show is?
Yes.
Look, it was in the comic that we read. It's a line from the issue.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Terrorist. That's what the big army calls the little army.
Wolverine was getting deep in those issues. You know, we'll get to Secret Wars 10 later. Right now, we are talking about Batman Year 100. It does seem... Do we do that on purpose, where like all of our anniversaries end up being Year 100?
Yeah, Batman Year 1 was our first anniversary. Batman Year 2 was our second year anniversary. Batman Year 3 was our third. Year 100 is our 100th episode. I don't know what we're going to do in a couple weeks for our 4-year anniversary, so we'll find out. Actually, I already have a secret. It's probably going to be Avengers Forever. Oh, boom. There we go.
Happy your 100th episode, guys. Oh, I should probably take these fangs out.
Oh, that was a good line. I should have let you say that.
That would have been a good one, too. Oh,
it's too bad I didn't let him say it. So we are talking about Batman Year 100 by Paul Pope. He wrote and drew this, colors by Jose Villarrubia. As mentioned, we'll get to our continued read of Secret Wars a little bit later. We're on issue 10 there. But, Year 100. You know, I thought I had read this thing, but I think I had only read the first issue, and then I stopped because I didn't like it. But
they were expensive, though, weren't they? Were they like probably $4.95, $5.95? Probably.
They were big ones, because they are issues. But, man, I love Paul Pope's art style. Like just in general, not even necessarily with Batman. And at first, I think it's more off-putting when you pick it up. It's like, why is Batman all like smushed, like he's got like extra gravity hitting him, like he's on the moon or something like that? I don't know. And this is going to be a tough one to talk about because it is kind of all over the place and has a bit of a like kind of brand new status quo. But I guess we should set the scene here. This came out when? Was this early 2000s, mid 2000s?
This was 2006.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was so it takes place in the year 1939, 100 years after
2039.
What did I say?
Yeah.
1939.
Okay. It takes place in the year 1839, 100 years after Batman is first debuted. And 2039. And so what is the status quo here? We've got Jim Gordon, not the Jim Gordon that we know. It is the grandson of regular Jim Gordon. We've got a Batman running around. We don't know who he is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the mystery of this series almost is like, okay, who is this guy? And I've got opinions on this that we'll have to get to at the end here. But I guess, should we just say we never actually do find out who's in the suit, which... is a little bit weird. What did you guys end up thinking about that? Are we just jumping to the conclusions? Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, basically we're in 2039. We're in the future. Batman existed, but you know, it's assuming. I guess it's 100 years after Batman first appeared, which is how the title kind of goes. Jim Gordon. The book kind of forgets that we're talking about Jim Gordon, the grandson, because he still looks exactly like Jim Gordon.
Yeah. I was confused for a while, and I was like, is this... I couldn't figure out what canon this belonged to at all. Like, it's kind of its own thing. Yeah.
Yeah. At first I thought maybe this was like Earth 2, but then I was like, no, Earth 2 Batman died in like 1967 or something like that, so it's definitely not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Go ahead, Vince.
It's definitely a dystopia, though. And, you know, I feel like a lot of like Warren Ellis comics, I'm getting a very much like a European comics or like a manga kind of vibe from the art style.
Yeah, this is like Dark Knight Returns meets Aeon Flux, like for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably the best way to describe the art.
Or Akira.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the way I could describe it in my head was it's that kind of animation where every tooth is drawn in somebody's mouth. If that makes any sense.
Well, no, I especially like how wrinkly the faces look. Like there are these moments where Batman is just like being pummeled and he's being tortured and he's putting his body through so much stress, and you can like feel that weight on him, and I really enjoyed that. Like there's something cool about it.
Yeah, it's like every lace is drawn on his shoes. Like his sleeves don't fully like go to his gloves, so you can still see like kind of like the skin underneath. You know where his glove and like suit don't meet. It's very detailed in that way. Paul Pope does a really good job. He had a great issue of Solo, if you remember that book. Solo was this DC book where they just gave 96 pages to a great artist and just let them fucking have at it. Like Darwin Cook had an issue, Tim Sale had an issue, Paul Pope had an issue, and it's just like a bunch of short stories. They could do what they wanted with the format. But Paul Pope's was a really cool one to look at.
Yeah, for sure. What else do we got? We've also got Robin. Robin is like an assistant to Batman. He's not a hero at all. He does sometimes put on the Batman costume to act as like a body double, act as more like a mechanic working on his motorcycle there. The Batmobile is a motorcycle. And it hangs from hooks with like bat wings draped over it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess that's where I get the Akira vibe.
Okay.
That part.
No, there were other, but like there is some. I don't know, that sort of corporate-y. It is more political. There's a lot of political intrigue going on in this book. It does kind of follow the Batman Year One story, or archetype almost, of having a parallel story between Batman and Jim Gordon, and sort of them becoming friends a little bit, and finding, learning a little bit more about each other and where exactly they lie on the spectrum of good and evil and all that.
But the book starts with like a 30-page chase.
Which is dogs.
But it's kind of cool because it kind of shows like the tech of the future, where like they can see images through the dogs, because I guess the dogs are having cameras, or they're bioengineered or whatever. They got mechanical stuff on them to see through the eyes of the dog. But it's like a 30-page chase, so I'm like, my notes are not much happened, and then a Fed got killed, and Batman's blamed for it. Like, and that's the extent of my notes for issue
pretty
one.
Much it. Yeah. Issue one, like I said, I wasn't super into. Issue two, I think, sets everything up a whole lot more. Like Batman's also got a doctor who kind of helps him out, and that doctor's daughter is also a sort of Oracle character. I think they even say the word Oracle at some point.
They do. And then this is also where they're like, Batman wasn't a real thing. That was just kind of an urban myth. I mean, he showed up, and this is my favorite part of the whole like series. With like he showed up in 39, and then we have some stuff from him in like 66. So 39 obviously was when Detective Comics 27 came out and Batman first appeared. 66 was when the TV show appeared with Adam West. And then they're like, and some stuff happened in 85. And I'm like, is that Dark Knight Returns or Batman Year One Post-Crisis publication? And then they mentioned 2006 or 2005, which is when this book was published. And then something happened in 2016 that obviously was the future to the writers of this book. And then he hasn't been seen since. But like, this dude has the same handwriting, the same like vocal patterns. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, maybe he faked it. Or is this Batman like immortal? Or what's the deal with this dude?
No, like, it's impossible. He'd have to be 140 years old. Like, who is this guy? What is this?
Which is like, I'm like, hello. This is interesting to me.
It was interesting to me too, and again, kind of like, I guess, spoilers for the end. We never actually find out who he is, and I don't know. It bothered me at first, but I'm kind of okay with it now. Like the whole thing is, it feels like it almost put me in the shoes of a Gothamite, where it's like, okay, what is this guy? Like, I know that it's Batman, but like, what the fuck is he? Is he a damn monster? Is he immortal? What is going on here? And it's just like the same way you see him kind of build up his own legend in the comics. It feels like that legend is being built up for us as well. And maybe they meant to return to it or whatever and find out. I don't know.
I mostly agree, but we'll get to the big twist of the third issue, which kind of fills out that.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought that was cool, and I do think it's supposed to be a like Dark Knight Returns type of moment because they do mention it being in a junkyard. So I at least pictured him fighting mutants in a junkyard. And this book is obviously, I mean, this is a year one pastiche, and it obviously loves Frank Miller. So I was like, well, they must love Dark Knight Returns also.
Yeah.
So the fact that they mentioned a junkyard, I was like, yeah, they're probably referencing that when they're like, oh yeah, he came in '86, he showed up in a junkyard. I was like, yeah, he's probably fighting those mutants.
Mm-hmm. We also, like in issue 2, Batman steals a tooth. This Fed, there's a big old mystery going on with this Fed. I don't think it's worth explaining the whole details of this mystery here. It's just like, evil cops trying to put together evil plans. Yeah. But the most important thing is
their own that might be a double agent or something like that. But it is, I mean, I do like this stupid detective stuff. He's like, all of his teeth have cavities, except for this one, which is it's a crown. But why is it got, a cavity like sealant on it?
A gold filling. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's actually got like micro USB ports on it. And I'm like, and actually like looks like reasonably close tech, which I like. And they're like, okay, well,
I think so too. Yeah. It all felt realistic for an early 2000s vision of 2039. Yes. Even though I feel like by now we've pretty much gotten to all that sort of stuff. Like we could realistically see a lot of that happening now.
Right.
It was pretty nice. So they discover that this USB tooth has plans for a flesh killer virus on it that's gonna wipe out all flesh, and you can program it to just target a specific race of flesh, which is something.
But they didn't mention. Did they say it was like USB like 5.0? Because then I go, 2037. That makes sense.
They did not say that.
Well, I mean, Paul Pope knows that once you get past 4, you stop numbering things, then you put a subtitle, which I think is what we did after 3.0, didn't we? Didn't we go to USB-C or something? I think we did. Like Ghost Protocol. You don't go to Mission Impossible 4. It doesn't happen.
So meanwhile, Jim Gordon's having trouble because these feds are keeping him out of his own case that's happening on his ground. He's been tasked to go find this file on Batman, which doesn't really exist. It's like very bare bones, except for his grandfather's old files. And it's password protected. It takes him forever to... he's just trying everything, and finally Bruce Wayne will.
And I know that maybe the password cracking techniques of 2039 are a little different, or whenever Jim Gordon made his passwords, but I always was told to put numbers and special characters in your stuff, and he's just guessing Harley Quinn, Harvey Dent,
Also, wouldn't it lock you out after 10 attempts or something like that?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe Jim Gordon. Jim Gordon's also an old man with a file thing, and so I don't know when his file was stopped, but he also reasonably was around when Batman was in 1939. So when did Gordon password protect this? In 85, 86?
No, I think so.
I mean, yeah, this is probably a password from our time. So yeah, I don't
probably earlier, but yeah. So I'm thinking maybe he didn't put
makes
Bruce,
sense.
Because the password is Bruce Wayne, which is the issue 3 cliffhanger, but it's not like Bruce Wayne 1 exclamation point.
What made him guess Bruce Wayne? I want to know how Jim Gordon's grandson even knew to think Bruce Wayne.
Everybody in Gotham, but not his family members or his favorite baseball team or any of that shit,
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like that as the big cliffhanger reveal at the end of issue 3 is really stupid and bad. I was just I know this is supposed to be dramatic, but I was just this comic has not shown us Bruce Wayne, and also I don't know that Batman is Bruce Wayne, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't really know why I should give a damn at all. That it's oh no, who cares? I don't understand why I should care at all. Like the comic doesn't show me at all why I should care. Like, is Bruce Wayne still alive in this world in 2037? Because if he is, have they explained how? Because that would seem like it would be something that they would have to explain.
Well, I feel like it could have something to do with like a Lazarus pit or something like that. Like I kind of had that thought in my mind, and
and then he would have to kind of do like a whatchamacallit, not Baron Munchausen, but that other guy, the one that like he would disappear every 50 years and say like, oh, I'm the grandson of this guy. Don't mind the fact that I look exactly like him.
Talking about Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, the vampire painting, yeah.
Mm-hmm, right, exactly. But like that's what Bruce Wayne would have to do because, he looks exactly like himself now.
That makes sense. Is that a plane?
Oh shit, it's the feds. They've come for us. We're trying to figure out Bruce Wayne's name. But
change your password. Add a 1. Add a 1.
But Chris, I think I'm totally like legit with you, and I don't know if it's supposed to like give you a better answer or not. I'm like, okay, so Jim Gordon knew that Batman was Bruce Wayne in the 30s. Like, how the fuck does that help us now? Like, does that help inform our new Batman? It doesn't really. It raises more questions. It's probably just a writer just sitting in a room thinking this is gonna be fucking cool. And then
for me, I thought it was fucking cool because I thought it gave Jim Gordon like an into knowing that his grandfather had a more personal connection with Batman.
Yeah.
And I think leads him to trust him a little bit.
Right.
It really doesn't bother me that we didn't learn anything about the secret identity because...
But it's just the story doesn't have time to explain, like, what's going on, Like,
I feel like it explained everything else that is going on, and I just didn't need anything else explained. It's, like, all about that relationship.
But even, they have those Watchmen style like police reports at the beginning of the issues of like, oh, I saw the Batman go by my house, like, oh, stay indoors. They don't really do anything.
Yeah, I took those as being just like extra art at the beginning, like in style, not anything that was actually required reading. Right,
and I don't think they are required reading, but it's like those could have been something that's just like, oh, like Bruce Wayne is doing something, blah, blah, blah. Like you could have done something that told me as a reader that like Bruce Wayne exists in this world.
I think,
because I don't know, like there's nothing to tell me in this comic that I should care at all about this revelation at all. And so when you try to make it a twist, I'm kind of like, so?
I think overall I did just want more of a connection to like current Batman or like something from the present world to help me get over that hump of jumping 30, 40 years from whenever this came out. Yeah. There was something missing there for sure, but I don't think the Bruce Wayne thing is necessarily what it was. But I don't really know. I don't have a better answer. So
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think this book doesn't want to do what I wanted it to do, which is fine.
Yeah.
It took me a while to realize that. Like, what I like about like Mega Man X, is that Mega Man X is like the next generation of Mega Man, but he's like 100 years later, but he's still like finding remnants of his creation. And like the original Mega Man, you can kind of parse what happened to the original Mega Man through Mega Man X. Like if you kind of like piece through the different like lore, you can kind of figure out what happened. And I think that's what I wanted this book to be, and it definitely isn't. And it pretty much establishes pretty quickly it's not going to be that.
Yeah, you know what else? This whole thing feels more like the beginning of a ongoing series than like an actual miniseries.
Yeah, like, it feels like they're going to have to explain somehow, like, oh, he went to the Lazarus pits or something eventually, but they never got around to it. And so you're kind of like, well, eventually you're going to have to explain how Bruce Wayne is 135 years old, Like, that people are going to figure out that, it's that guy, that the billionaire that's, he's been alive for 100 years.
There was one moment where Jim Gordon is collecting evidence, and he's got like a greenish tinted coat on with some purplish tinted gloves, and he just reminded me of the Joker. And I thought there was going to be some sort of a weird twist there, where the Joker decided to just live his life as a regular human under the name Jim Gordon, work his way up to commissioner, and then do some crazy shit.
Yeah. Speaking of characters that just look like characters, the like crooked government guy just looks like Grant Morrison.
The one with the telepath guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else was there? There was boy, I feel like did we cover all the details? I did in general. My panel of the week, it was somewhere in issue 4 where Batman is kind of standing there in front of his motorcycle. Any of the shots with the motorcycle, I really like how it's drawn. It's got like this motion to it where it almost looks like bat fur coming off of it as it's roaring down wherever it's going. I enjoyed that, and then also the teeth, lots of teeth.
Yeah,
his fake teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did like that a lot. I liked the like parlor scene a lot too, where he confronts the Grant Morrison looking guy and the like head of the FBI equivalent, and he's just like your mistake was trusting a telepath to not betray you. Mm-hmm. And the telepath guy's like, how did you know all this? Like, I put a mental block in your head. And he's like, I didn't actually, but you just
you just confirmed it for me. So cliche, but I loved it. Yeah. There really were like as like this whole story had some problems in terms of just how it was laid out, but overall, I still really liked it. A lot of great individual scenes, and I liked discovering what it was willing to tell me about this world. And I liked it more after I went back and thought about it, and rather than as I was reading it. Yeah. I don't know. I think I felt the way you guys did, certainly, as I was reading. But I just like it more upon reflection.
Yeah, I think Jim Gordon's grandson's line at the end very much feels like Burn After Reading. And he goes, I don't know exactly all that was I saw in there or how you did it. I just know you dropped a hell of a lot of paperwork in my lap. And I'm like, same, Jim Gordon. I don't know what I just read. I don't really know how anything's resolved. Something happened. Did we learn anything? Who knows?
I really wish he would have at least just had a different first name. Like,
like Jimmy Gordon?
Jim.
Yeah.
Or just doesn't even have to start with a J.
Yeah.
Alex Gordon.
Yeah.
No, that sounds wrong.
Yeah. Eric Gordon, whatever.
Right. It all really does sound wrong. What would be a good name for Jim Gordon's grandson? Bruce.
I think it'd be okay if he
Bruce
was
Gordon.
That would be fun. It would be okay if he was Jim Gordon and he didn't have a white mustache. Also, that might have helped.
Yes,
Yeah, he didn't look exactly like the character sheet for Jim Gordon.
Same genes,
And that he wasn't in a relationship with basically his wife, Sarah.
So is this the same Jim Gordon from 1939 also? Who? No, it's not.
Whoa, no, it can't be. Yeah. Another real little moment I really liked in the first issue with he's running and chasing, and he goes through some little kid's home. The kid's home alone, and the kid tells him, "Nah, Batman's not here." And then afterwards, sees Batman's in pain. He gives him a Superman action figure to lift his spirits. Mm-hmm. I like that moment. It was a nice little moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question: would you give this the Eisner for Best Limited Series of 2007?
Did it win?
Yes,
it did win. I don't know what came out in 2007, so it's hard to, what was the categories? Vince?
I don't even know. Well, let me look that up. I guess Best Limited Series 2007.
I really, really love Paul Pope's art style. It is, I think, so unique for me, and like it has that extreme anime feel while still like keeping that kind of gritty Frank Miller 80s stuff. It's just got a really cool combination for me, and I quite enjoy it. So yeah, sure, why not? Give it an Eisner. I've read worse stuff that's gotten Eisners.
Yeah, we've read other stuff for our Eisner weeks that we're like, nah.
Yeah.
I don't know how the Eisner wins some of those things, like that Hellboy issue. I don't know how that won Best Single Issue of the whole year.
we didn't have to name it by name, Vince. We were all thinking of that one.
Yeah, Batman with fake teeth. Here, have an Eisner, sure.
Oh shit! Okay. The Other Side by Jason Aaron and Cameron Stewart. That was also nominated against that. That one's great. That should have won.
I've never read that.
It's a Vietnam book. I think it was Jason Aaron's first major work before he even got scalped. I think it was his first Vertigo work.
Mm-hmm.
So The Looking Glass Wars, Hatter M. I don't know that. Scarlet Traces, The Great Game, and Sock Monkey. So maybe.
Nah, I don't know those other ones.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that year Jack of Fables was also nominated for Best New Series, so who knows what the Eisners are doing.
Who knows? So yeah, that's it. We can't really do a would you keep reading this. If it had been a limited series, I think I might be into it. I might keep going, see what happens.
There's a trade. The trade I didn't read because I read it on DC Universe has a short story by Paul Pope about Batman, in World War II, an Elseworld story where he's Batman of Berlin or something. That sounds intriguing. I would read that. I would check that out, and I would also check out Solo again.
Yeah, I just want to read more Paul Pope stuff in general. More of those indie guys with weird art styles. Oh, I did see that they did that whole Best American Comics series. Who is it who publishes that? For whatever year that this was out, they tried to include an excerpt from this, but of course DC, they don't want their stuff being printed unless they're printing it, so they said no. Too bad. I don't exactly know why. That's my guess. So yeah, that's it for Batman Year 100. Oh, I skipped over a thing that we were going to do at the beginning, talking about our 100th episode here. We've got some extra time, right? This thing went by pretty quick. Before we get to Secret Wars 10, let's do that. Let's talk about these last 4 or 5 years we have spent together, boys. Whoa, what a ride. What a ride.
What a long, strange trip it's been.
Yeah, and the real adventure was the friends we made along the way.
Some of the friends we made along the way.
Some not Hellboy. Hellboy doesn't count. But we figured we'd take a moment to talk about all the other stuff that we've done in the last 4 or 5 years with regards to this comic book nerd culture stuff that we do. I personally have gotten back into video games. I've been very excited to do that, playing a lot of these old things that now are cheap because I didn't play them 10 years ago.
Hey, you heard about these things? Video games?
Yeah, you heard these things. You heard about these things?
But
my
I
Jalen
really
impression is great.
It's good. It's good. Oh, I thought you were doing Bobby Moynihan, the
You think that's bad? That's my
no,
Peter
the
Griffin
secondhand news guy.
That's a good one. Not drunk uncle, but I do know. Yeah, you heard about this? Oh, yeah, I know.
That's
I know what you're talking
about. So you have heard of it?
PlayStation 3. You heard about this?
I don't think I ever touched a PlayStation 3 controller, saw it in action.
They are garbage.
Yeah,
I got one in 2013, and I had not touched the PS3 ever, and I was like, "What the fuck? This controller sucks." The triggers on the the R2 button and L2, just they got a weird spring on them. They're terrible.
Great.
Go straight to PS4.
Just
yeah. But yeah, that's it. What about you guys? Anything good?
I was playing Lego Marvel 2 with Bruce today, and it's this world where Kang has merged all the several different Marvel universes together. So there's the Old West version of the Marvel, and space and Guardians of the Galaxy and all these things.
That's the plot to Secret Wars.
Yeah, exactly. But it's Kang exactly. So I'm like, they should have just done this with the Beyonder. I'm like, yeah, but Kang is cooler, I guess.
Yeah.
So they did that, but I was going through Hala, which is also in the Captain Marvel movie, and I'm like, oh, I finally know what Hala is because I've read so many comics over the years, and I'm just like, I don't give a shit about what this Hala place is. And even the several books we've read about the Kree, I was like, I don't care. The second I read Hala or the Supreme Intelligence or Intelligence Supreme, I'm like, brr. But you need Annette Bening playing the Supreme Intelligence in the movie for me to be like, okay, now I finally got it. I don't think Hala and any of the Kree stuff ever stuck with me, despite us reading about them for like 5 or 6 issues. Same with the Wrecking Crew, who I'm gonna bet have been the villain that's appeared the most times in any of our episodes.
I think they're the MVP of this podcast.
Yeah, I think at some point we need to do like a Wrecking Crew centric episode.
Do we? We could just clip together. It would be a double linked episode if I just took the amount of time we talk about the Wrecking Crew.
I want their origin of how they got all their Asgardian weapons. Well, I think I've read that actually. It's like a panel. Never mind.
I just saw that Marvel's publishing a book called Asgardians of the Galaxy, and I'm like, that's a good ass name.
That's a great name.
But I've been reading just like smattering like all about. I've been reading the Thanos book by Donny Cates, which is just, and it's got the Cosmic Ghost Rider, who's actually the Punisher, but like 1,000 years in the future. And it's so good. It's so weird. It's the dumb kind of comic that I like. And I've also just been I've been wanting to check out what is it, Spider-Man: The Life? I think it came out last week. It's written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Mark Bagley, and they're doing a decade in real time of Spider-Man, a decade an issue. So like the last one that just came out was Spider-Man 1960s, and it's just going to age Peter Parker in real time from the 60s to today.
Oh,
kind of like Marvel's did.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Which we've got a long list of episodes we never covered in these 100, like Marvel's, Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns.
We never read Dark Knight Returns?
No, we've always avoided that one.
Okay.
First,
we're going to run out of Batman stuff for anniversaries to do eventually, so I'm sure we'll get to that one.
I know, we never did the Galactus trilogy. We still got like a lot on our MO of like major comic books, but I think we were trying to avoid in these 100 episodes stuff that all of us had already read.
Yeah.
The kind of MO was books that we should have read, classic books like the Kree Skrull War, which we just did.
So for our next 100, it's only going to be books that we've all already read.
Yes. So it's going to be Why the Last Man. We're going to do a 10-episode thing, and
Just read the whole thing? Yep.
Yeah, well, there's an FX show coming out of it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, y'all watch that Umbrella Academy?
No, I didn't. How was that?
It's fine. I think it's actually really, really good, I think. I can't help but watch it thinking I might enjoy it better as a comic, because there's a few things that kind of get a little weird that I think would be more believable on a page than coming from real actors, Well,
the comics art is great, and the Gabriel Ba, I think it's not Fabian Moon. It's his brother. They're twins, but they have different last names. The art was good.
What?
Yeah, they have
what?
Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba. They're Brazilian, I believe. They're great. They did like one of them did Casanova with Matt Fraction. They did Day Tripper, which is one of my favorite comics. And one of them did Umbrella Academy with Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance. The funniest thing I've seen online is some people were talking about the Doom Patrol TV show, and they called it a cheap knockoff of Umbrella Academy. And I go, that's funny.
That is, yeah.
Because everything in Umbrella Academy is like, I loved Grant Morrison 20 years ago. Here's a comic I tried to write.
Yeah, that's... well, what can you do?
What I'll say about Umbrella Academy, very relatable. How the outcast is always like your favorite character? Every character in Umbrella Academy is the outcast, so there's going to be somebody for you to latch onto, no matter what.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right, Chris, how about you? What do you get?
Let's see. I really haven't had a ton of time for new nerdy stuff, but I saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, 3 months ago, which was amazing. It was very good.
Yeah.
Yes. It was astonishing, spectacular.
Was it Friendly Neighborhood?
Yes, it was all of those things. I think the Blu-ray just came out. If you have not seen that movie, somehow you should buy it.
Yeah.
It's got a Spider-Ham short on it.
Yeah, I'm going to buy that movie even though I already saw it, just because I want to see the special features and watch it again. Mm-hmm. I've also played some video games. I played Resident Evil 2. I had been playing Eternal Darkness on the GameCube.
Oh.
Really?
I've been playing like old horror games lately after the Resident Evil 2 remake. I went back to GameCube horror. What else? I've been reading Justice League from the 70s. been a lot of fun. There's a lot of I think I've explained to you guys. There's a lot of comics that end with they like stop an alien invasion where they're like the aliens are like, you have to stop this pollution, and then they like stop the aliens, and they're like, we saved the Earth, and then like Green Arrow looks at like a smokestack, and he's like, did we?
Oh boy. Great. Well, that's I guess that's our adventure for the last 100 years. 100 issues.
Yeah, we started like right before Avengers 2 came out. I think is when we first, and maybe the Daredevil TV show had just started.
Yeah, it must have. Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Because we started with Daredevil Born Again, another Frank Miller, David Mazzucchelli joint.
Great. So
the real main event. Let's get there.
Secret Wars 10. Here we go.
Into the Wrecking Crew, who are barely in this issue.
They're bad. This was a very like Doctor Doom centric issue. Everything that happened with everyone else didn't really matter, except for that speech with Wolverine.
Yeah.
And Magneto. And Magneto has a Castle Grayskull like I have the power pose like in like 7 different panels. Mm-hmm. Where he's got like both. He's got like his feet spread about like shoulder width apart, and his arms in the air. He's like, I've got the power, and then they just cut to like other parts, and he's still like standing that way. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's Captain America and Wolverine, the buddy comic, and then Doctor Doom, and then there's a big cliffhanger of like, what the hell is going on with Doctor Doom?
Yeah, Doctor Doom, I guess, like got all of the Beyonder's power and defeated him.
Or did he?
Yeah, exactly. But he's very powerful right now. He shows up in like a hologram and says, by the way, everybody, Beyonder's done. Come join me, and we're going to be good. And everyone's like, And Magneto is the first to jump up and says, hell yeah, I'll join you, man. And then he stops for a second and goes, ooh, everybody's looking at me.
He makes a very impassioned speech because he's like, fucking Beyonder showed up here and he like pitted us all against each other. And he's like, y'all will figure out good and evil. And it's like, this Beyonder motherfucker could take us like away from he could take us away from the planet. Like he could destroy everything like in a heartbeat. I feel like we need to go after this guy, a.k.a. steal his powers. And I'm like, on the surface, this makes sense. But I did see the Spider-Man animated series episodes that kind of adapted this. And I'm like, this is not going to end well for you guys. So don't trust Doom. He's going to look all hot and stuff. I'm assuming. I haven't read Secret Wars. He's going to steal the Beyonder's powers and he's not going to be ugly anymore. That's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. So Magneto's like, oh yeah, let's team up. And then he's like, wait a minute. Every other time we team up, you betray me.
I do love that like Iron Man and Hawkeye like tackle Magneto. No sweat, Hawkeye. He ain't going to reach out and touch nobody unless he can find a payphone.
My favorite is that before that, Wolverine is, giving his big speech about how the Nazis persecuted the Jews and how mutants are just like that. It's my favorite line. I'm going to keep repeating it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He's been hanging out with Kitty Pryde too much.
Yeah, well, it feels a little out of character for him, mainly also because right afterwards, he's so mad that, like, Colossus has to hold him back. But he stood there for, like, 10 minutes talking about the political and social consequences of the way that Captain America has been treating mutants and isn't speaking up for their rights instead of the rights of the common man. And then, let me at him, hold him back. Felt a little weird to me.
At least, it was Wolverine and not Kitty Pryde because he talked about Nazis and Jews and not black people because that's Kitty Pryde's go-to move.
I don't think I've ever read anything like where she does that.
Yeah, there was in the 70s and 80s. She would be like, "Oh, you call me mutie? That's just like," and then you say a slur, and you're like, "Whoa!" Like, whoa. Can you not?
Yikes. Did anything else happen in this issue?
Yes. So we got a few other cool things.
Okay.
We've got Colossus worried that the alien girl Zashi is hurt.
Yeah, and Johnny Storm is again like, I couldn't care at all. Reed might have injured his valuable brain.
I don't know what chippy means, so please pardon me if that's like a slur.
I don't know either.
Okay, but
Like,
I apologize. This is me purely academic. Repeat, like he's like, I've got to go tell Johnny because she's really in love with him. And he goes, I ain't got no time for a chippy now. Reed is hurt. And he goes, I'll send her a card later. Chippy. Like that cracked my shit up. But also, I'm like, this is my brother-in-law who I've like known for like 3 decades. Like, I care more about him than
that's some random chippy for sure.
Yeah.
I apologize in advance if that's like a really bad like C-word slur. We honestly don't know. I plead ignorance.
This is the first time I've ever heard that.
Some kind of like 1950s like car drag racing slur.
Yeah, I plead ignorance. I'm sorry. And also, I love that Doom is just like talking to Claw's head. Like it's kind of like it's like an Alas Poor York kind of thing. He's like, I just love that he just has Claw's just decapitated head and he talks to it for advice and stuff. That cracks me up. And then we missed Giant Doom.
Oh yeah, he turns giant for a second, then says, "Let me shrink down so I can talk to y'all for a sec."
Yeah, but at the same time, a regular sized Doom like crash lands somewhere else, and you're like, "Wait, what's going on here?"
So
wait, what?
Yeah, like a second Doom, because he's like fighting Beyonder, and so like, there's like 2 armors anyway.
Oh, that's right. There was something going on about how he like splits into 2 beings.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna have to find out what that's all about next time. But yeah, you're right. I remember that now.
Yeah. So there's 2 sets of Doom armor anyway.
A Doombot perhaps, or some magic stuff. They did recap his magical origins as well, which is always nice. His gypsy upbringing. I always forget that Doctor Doom was a gypsy. But that's it. Cool.
Yep. He also freezes Captain Marvel. The one she actually is, I guess, mildish. Spoiler alert for the Captain Marvel movie. She has a cameo in that movie.
Yeah.
Wait, who does?
Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau.
I wouldn't even call it a cameo. She's in the movie a decent bit.
Yeah. I mean, what's really cool is that costume also makes a cameo in the movie.
I don't think I saw that.
Yeah. There's a part where they're like, "What costume should I wear?" Because it's like she can change whatever costume she wants, and Monica's like, "Maybe this costume," and it's like black and white. And I'm like, "Oh, hello, photon costume," and then she goes to a different one. So,
wait a minute, was the daughter's name Monica, or was the mom's name Monica?
Yeah, the daughter.
I thought the mom was also Monica.
The mom's name was Maria, which I was like, "Why do they have Maria Rambeau in this?" Like the whole movie, I'm like, why are we talking about Maria Rambeau? Like this, you walked right up to this name and then like abandoned it, and like my daughter Monica, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." The woman who played Maria Rambeau, by the way, is playing 355 in the Y, The Last Land TV series.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's kind of, especially because it's set, 15 years in the past or 20 years in the past.
Yeah.
So she's now, 20-some years old?
Yeah, she's ready.
Ready to be a superhero.
Great. Yeah. Very exciting.
She was the first female Captain Marvel, also, I found out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not related to the Kree superhero, but she
related to copyright or trademark keeping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got to keep the Shazam away from
number 2. Right?
Yes. No, 3 maybe. Was Genus there?
She was before Genus.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I did some. Yeah. But yeah, keep Shazam away from that.
Is Shazam also out already?
No, it comes out first or second week of
April.
April.
It's in limited release, yeah.
Reviews just came out. AV Club gave it a B-, but I don't think it was the type of movie that AV Club would have liked one way or the other.
I'm not sure what movie that's going to end up being at all. We'll see.
I'm optimistic, but
we'll see.
I like the guy, Chuck, whatever, Zach Levy. He's really cool.
He's cool.
Cousin Toby from the Squeakquel, covered on your side.
Yep, classic. Who could forget?
Who could forget the Squeakquel? Have we covered that on the show? We'll spend an
The
episode
comic
talking about Alvin.
adaptation of
Yeah,
Alvin
I mean-
and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel.
I mean, I have. So
Oh, did you see that CGI? More like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Hey,
That's, I don't know. Was it good? Was it good
I have a
CGI?
mild familial relation to Rhythm and Hughes, the CG company who made Alvin and the Chipmunks. My uncle taught them, and they're in college.
I'm
Wow.
sure they're great. I'm sure they're great. Anyways, this was our 100th episode. Oh, we didn't do... I forgot the cake.
oh no.
No.
Did y'all not get it in the mail in time?
No.
I sent it out way too late. Well, I've got cake over here. I'm going to eat it.
Okay, well,
That's a
enjoy,
bummer.
I guess.
That's okay. I wish I had someone to... I'll call up a few chippies. We'll we'll share this cake together. I hope that's not terrible. We're in so much trouble. Oh
What
boy.
if it's those like
Okay.
situation where like Americans can't say chippy, but British people can? What if it's like one of those guys?
Maybe. What are we doing next time? We didn't talk about it.
Another anniversary.
Oh, another anniversary. Actually, today, as of this episode coming out, on book stands now. Detective Comics number 1000. You might have heard of Detective Comics. It's where Batman got started. Yeah.
It's the D and
so we're
DC
also-
Comics and the C.
We're gonna read.
And what does the C stand for again?
Detective Comics comics.
Comic books. We're going to read Detective Comics 1000, and we're also going to read the very first issue of Detective Comics number 27.
But
Which is the first one that matters. We're only actually just going to read the Batman story, which is like, 6 pages long? We're not going to read any of the other
and
chunks in there.
Detective Comics 27 from May 1939, not the one that came out.
Not like a reboot. Right.
Yeah.
The very original.
But yeah, we did Action Comics 1000 last year. I want to say around the same time.
Yep.
Yeah. It wasn't good, was it?
It wasn't great.
No.
It's a similar format though for this. I'm sure.
Okay, it'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I will read the whole of Detective 27. We'll see what happens. If you do go buy Detective 1000, mention some of our friends read comics.
Some of
you'll
my
get a
friends read
discount.
comics.
What?
You said some
Did
of
I
our
say it
friends.
wrong?
Yeah.
Did I say the name?
They're
of
not
going to
have the code right.
No.
No, look at you like you're crazy. Some of our friends read comics.
It's not. If you go to the cashier, it's not going to be your friend or the cashier's friend. You have to say some of their friends read comics, so that the cashier knows that you're talking about us.
Yeah, and also
So-
that's the way the promo works because otherwise they'll know that they'll be able to attach it that you actually did listen to episode 100 because we mispronounced the name of the episode of the show. That's right.
And
how they'll know you're a
they're
true
going to
listener.
make sure that you stuck around to the end of the episode because the real secret password is Chippy. All right, we're done.
Keyword Chippy.
Yeah,
Wow.
the C word. That's what the C in Detective Comics stands for.
Wow.
What? Oh boy, I'm tired. It's time to go to bed. After 100 issues, why did we record the first 100 issues of this show straight through? I am so tired after 100 episodes straight.
Oh
of
my
this.
god, I can't believe we started with Born Again like 200 hours ago. That was crazy.
So I'll see you guys in a year. We'll record the next 100. We should have timed Secret Wars better because I'm not going to remember what happened.
All right, well.
Okay, guys. Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Vince.
Au revoir.
All right. Bye, guys. See you later. Good night.